What's going on, Trilogy fam? It's Armando here, ready to bring you an episode of Trilogy on Demand. So, today we're going to be talking about compound exercises. What are compound exercises? How do they differ from isolated exercises? What are the benefits? And some examples of some of the most popular compound exercises to do. So, let's go ahead and get this thing started. So to start off with compound exercises, let's first begin with the definition of compound. So the dictionary likes to describe or define compound as a mixture of at least two or more. And in this case, when we're talking about exercises, we're talking about muscle groups. So with compound exercises, we're going to be talking about exercises that use two or more muscle groups to perform that specific exercise. So when we're talking about compound movements and compound exercises here, we usually talk about the main lifts, your bench presses, your squats, your deadlifts, your overhead presses. Those are just to name a few, but they're not limited to those exercises. And when we dig deeper into those lifts, you'll notice a couple things that they will all have in common. Most of them will be double jointed, which means you're using and moving at more than one joint. We'll go a little bit deeper into those later into this video. And the biggest thing is you're going to be using more than just the one muscle group compared to the isolated exercises. So that's the main difference between a compound workout or a compound exercise compared to an isolated is the compound, you work at least two muscle groups, if not more. For the isolated, you are only working on one muscle group. That's why it is called the isolated exercise. You are isolating that specific muscle group to be able to work that. Now, the benefits to doing compound exercises are very great. So some of the main things are you're going to increase your heart rate a little bit faster when you're doing your compound lifts. That's because they are just a little bit more demanding. You are generally working a little bit harder because you are working more muscle groups. Typically you can lift a little bit heavier, which then can also be a little bit more demanding. You're stimulating your metabolism, your CNS a little bit more when you are lifting heavier. So that said, since you're working harder, heart rate's up, you're going to burn a little bit more calories. You're going to be able to build a little bit more muscle mass doing your compound lifts because you are working on more than just one muscle group. You're also going to be able to strengthen up your joints as well. And you're going to help build up your just surrounding and stabilizing muscles just because you're working all of the surrounding muscles on that joints that are moving. So for a bench press or a push-up, you're going to be working your chest, not only at your chest when you're building, you're going to be moving at your elbow and your shoulder as well. So now you're going to be working the surrounding muscles in this joint as well. So those are a lot of the benefits. You're hitting a lot of birds with just the one stone. So not just two birds, more birds with one stone there with one movement. So that's what makes compound exercises great. You're able to hit a lot of exercises or a lot of muscle groups with just the one movement. You can complete a full body workout in less time. Those are one of the greatest advantages of your compound exercises. So I'm going to have a couple examples for you of the most popular compound movements, which are going to be the squat, the push-up, or the bench press if you have a bench, and the dumbbell overhead press. I'll show you the joints that are moving, the muscles that we're working, and the benefits that you'll be able to get from performing those exercises as well. And we'll also go over when the best time to go and perform these exercises in your workout will be. If you look at the first compound exercise we have here, it's the squat. So what makes this a compound exercise is that it uses more than one muscle group to complete the movement. You're going to be moving with your hamstrings, your glutes, and your quads to perform this exercise. It also shows that we're bending at the knee and at the hip. So this is a multi-jointed compound exercise movement. This will be a great exercise to begin with during any lower body workout because it will be the most demanding and will require the most energy to perform when you're working your hamstrings, glutes, and quads simultaneously. The next compound exercise we're going to go over is the overhead press. So this is a shoulder exercise primarily, but you will also be using the triceps to move the dumbbells from shoulder height to over your head. Also, you can see I'm bending at the shoulder joint and the elbow joint, making this a compound movement. The next compound exercise we will have is the push-up, something that's very standard. You'll see it's very popular among any general population or any fitness level to perform a push-up. So what makes this a compound exercise is it uses the chest as your primary mover, but you're also using the triceps and the shoulders to help in the movement. You can also see that the joints that are being used in this exercise are the elbow and the shoulder joints. They're bending, the elbows are coming back, which makes this another compound exercises because you are using more than one muscle group and more than one joint. Another popular compound movement would be the dumbbell row. So this exercise, the primary mover will be your back, but you also activate some of your rear delts or your rear shoulders as well as your biceps. So those are the muscles that are being used, and you can also see that the shoulder joint and the elbow joint are moving during this movement, which makes it the compound movement. And any of the previous 3 exercises that I just went over would be great exercises to perform at the beginning of your workout, again, because they will be the most demanding. They're using multiple muscle groups. You're going to use the most energy performing those exercises, and if you do save them towards the end, you might be a little bit more fatigued and tired, less energy, so you might be susceptible to more injury, or the lifts won't be as effective as if you were to do them at the beginning. All right, Trilogy fam, now that you have a better understanding of what compound exercises are, what the benefits are, and when to do them in your workout, let us know what your favorite one is. Again, my name's Armando with Trilogy. We'll catch you next time.